Of course, fall wedding season now is a thing of the past, and in Greater West Bloomfield, that means spring wedding season is on the horizon as Greater West Bloomfield emerges from late winter and approaches the big day for local newlyweds here in our community. Brides, that means it's time to find the perfect dress, and you can do it and get the help you need from a local business that knows you and your community and wants to make the process easy and be done as close to home as possible. Joining us with some helpful tips for local brides is Lyanna Harris from Always Couture Bridal Boutique in West Bloomfield Township. Lyanna, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. Glad to be back.
Yeah, glad to be back. Have you back on the show to talk about this. We've talked previously about fall wedding season on this show, not this previous fall, but in the past. And it's a whole different animal when you're going into spring wedding season. So for you, being a local bridal shop, how do you help sort of bridge those gaps between the trends and the common themes of a spring wedding with the needs of local brides wanting to find that perfect dress right here in their home community?
Well, you're absolutely right. There is a huge difference between fall weddings and spring weddings and what every bride is looking for. And every bride is so unique and looking for something totally different. And that's something that we can really help with and that we're really unique in, and that we do custom bridal gowns here at Always Couture. So every person that walks through the door is 100% individualized. You know, they get to choose the fabrics and the details and everything that goes into their dress. So it's really hard to nail down like one particular trend because I see everything all over the board. Some people like super simple, some people like really over the top, but some very common things that we're seeing coming back into style right now are things like French lace, beading, 3D floral appliques, things like that, things that were like a couple of years ago completely out of style. Everybody wanted the sleek satin, very sophisticated look, but the more detailed, floral, romantic feeling type of gown is really starting to make a comeback.
We're in the late portions of winter now as we're talking today. That means spring wedding season just a little ways away, but there's still some time for brides to get that customization in play that you talked about. For those that want that to be part of their dress, which is part of a major memory for them, hopefully something that is once in a lifetime for our local brides. What is the timeline to make sure that they get that customization that they need with that personal touch that comes from a local boutique like yours?
Well, we like to try to fit into any bride's timeline. We like to cater to anyone that can come in to see us. So we have a wide range of customization options, from buying a dress off the rack and having sleeves added or a different neckline adjusted, little personal customizations that you can make to a base dress, to full from sketch to finish, custom designed gown that's one of a kind, all your own. And the timelines for that vary. You know, the typical timeline for just an off-the-rack customization would be somewhere between 8 to 10 weeks, whereas like a full custom build-up would be something like 4 to 6 months. Now, I always tell brides they want to try to get in as quickly as they can. You know, it's never too early to book an appointment, either for a custom consultation or alterations, or even just to come in and try on a few dresses. You know, it's never too early to get the process started because you never know what you're going to fall into. You know, it might take you a while to find your own personal style. It might take you a while to find the dress that you really love, or, you know, you might need 1 or 2 appointments before you really get that custom look nailed down to exactly what your dream dress is. So, like I said, it's never too early to start, but we can accommodate just about any timeline. So even if you did want to get a full custom dress done, you're working on a very narrow timeline, there are always brush options available as well.
And I know that my cousin, she's getting married in the fall. She just went through her bridal shopping experience with my mom and my aunt and her future mother-in-law and all that, and just like about a month ago, all the way for the fall. So like you said, having that timeline, it's the perfect timeline. You get a lot of time to make those adjustments. Maybe you have some creative idea that comes up, and then you can push it forward. Lyanna, for those that are looking to get their dress either for this coming spring and their wedding coming up, or even into the later portions of this year, and they just are getting started early, what's the difference in their process and what they ultimately get out of it, more importantly, when they go to a local bridal shop like yours right here in West Bloomfield Township versus maybe some of the franchises that are all over the place that have maybe a wider range of clientele, but maybe not that personalization?
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Like, it's night and day. I kind of compare it to, like, if you were just going clothing shopping, between going to a small neighborhood boutique versus going to like Walmart. You know, you're never going to get the same type of feeling, the same type of experience as when you go to a smaller boutique, because you're getting an intimate, one-on-one, hands-on experience from start to finish. Like, you walk in the door, you're dealing with somebody who you may know personally. You may have seen them at a bridal expo or just from around the neighborhood. They're going to sit with you and talk with you and get to know you personally. It's not just going to be, here's a dress and, you know, I'll check you out at the front. It's, you know, you get to know them, you get to know their style, you get to know their personality, what their wedding's going to be like. And when you really start to build a dress from scratch, the experience goes to a whole different level, because you get to be hands-on with every single step of the process. You get to help with the design process. You know, I'll sit down and I'll sketch something out with someone and they're like, you know, I don't really like that neckline. You know, why don't we make it a little lower? So they're really designing their own gown at the end of the day. You know, I help with the process and I design it for them because I'm experienced in that, but really it comes out of their own imagination. And then they get to hand select the fabric. So they get to pick the satins, they get to touch and feel the laces and the beading and all of that before it ever goes into the gown. And then, you know, they trust, you know, me and my team and the years of experience that we have that you're just not going to get at your local, you know, big box store, bridal gown store, where, you know, you're going to talk to a stylist who's maybe been working there for like 6 months and is part-time and all of that. As opposed to working with someone like me. I've been in the industry for about 20 years. My team has been working for probably even longer than that, customizing dresses, building dresses from scratch. And it's just that level of expertise, that level of experience. It really makes all the difference in the world. I was recently talking to a bride on the phone, and she was asking me this very question. And the advice that I gave her was very similar. It's like, you're not going to get the same type of experience as you would with someone who can walk you through the process, who can sit down, who's seen every type of gown on every type of body and can really tell you, you know, based on the conversations that you have, like, this is going to be the type of dress that you love. You know, this type of style is going to look best on you. And then they try it on and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. So it really helps the process along, and it makes it a much easier and less stressful time for the bride.
Yeah, it's not to say that that care and that TLC is going to go into the process if you go to one of the national stores and those chains that are in our area, but you get a certain level of customization, personalization, and that special care you can only really get from a small business when you go to your local shop. Lyanna, I want to thank you very much for your time. We've got to keep moving on here on the program, but thank you for joining us today on The Splash Live.
Absolutely. It's such a joy to be here. Thank you for having me.